And don't forget to order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, an excellent book that you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, available in both PDF as well as paperback form.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Murray Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our NFL Week 2 preview between the New Orleans Saints and the Cleveland Browns. And we're going to look at some coaching points in this game for both teams, starting with New Orleans.
And for the Saints in this ball game, they have to play the situation better. They failed to do so last week versus Atlanta. They were up 20-6 versus the Falcons football team and then started to throw the football even more. They have to play better situational football unless they want to come away 0-2 out of Cleveland. And they have to find a solution at the number 2 cornerback spot outside of Keenan Lewis. They drafted Stanley Jean-Baptiste. He's a better cornerback already than Patrick Robinson. They have to get better at number 2. Otherwise, they're going to struggle once again to defend the pass. And versus the Browns' aggressive defense, I look for the screen game to Pierre Thomas, Mark Ingram, Kyrie Robinson to be in full effect this week to calm the pressure of the Browns, and that way you'll be able to then hit big plays deep down the field. And for the Browns in this game, playing with tempo could lead them to victory. They play with great tempo in the second half of the game versus Pittsburgh. I think that's the style they have to play with because they had the most success. And staying active at the second level, I think their linebackers, whether it be coming on blitzes or dropping back in coverage, I think they can have a huge impact in this ball game. Remember, Drew Brees is a quarterback that routinely struggles versus 3-4 defenses, so those linebackers of Cleveland could play a huge role in this ball game. And offensively, I would go with more bunch and cluster sets versus the Saints defense. That way you can cause mix-up in coverage, miscommunications, and perhaps get a big play deep down the field.
What was able to get the Cleveland Browns back into the ball game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers was their ground game. And this week versus New Orleans, they have to get that going if they want to have the same type of success at home versus the Saints. I'm going to show you what they can do with the power running game, and they love to run the power. We're going to run the power front side. We're going to block it creatively, though. We're not going to block the linebacker with the tight end. We're going to work this tight end up toward the inside backer. Boom, he's going to get him. We're going to try to get this guy here blocked by the receiver, and we're going to have big on big right here. The play side tackle's job is to get the 5 technique block. We're going to combo block the nose with the guard working to the inside backer. We're going to have the 5 technique on the backside get blocked by the tackle. Now what we're doing front side, we're going to have the fullback, his job is to lead up and get that linebacker blocked right away. And we're going to have the tailback take his counter step and follow the backside guard up, and he's going to get first threat. So follow the backside guard up, quarterback takes his steps, hand the ball off, and hopefully running front side could lead them to success. Again, the Saints had problems last week at times stopping the run versus Atlanta. We know the Browns are a power running team, and if they can get the counter going, even whether they block it traditionally or creatively, that's going to bode well for their chances of knocking off the Saints in Cleveland.
Now, here are some in-game adjustments you want to watch for when the Saints have the football, whether or not they go with the zone blocking scheme or a power running game versus this 3-4 defense of the Cleveland Browns. I think, in my opinion, when you look at the power running game, it puts more beef on the field and less speed on the field. So I would go with more of a zone blocking scheme versus the Browns, but you definitely should watch for this in the matchup and condense or spread sets versus that 3-4 defense. Obviously, you want to widen out that 3-4 defense, expand those zone responsibilities. So I look for more spread sets versus this Brown defense, and it'll be interesting to see how they decide to pressure Brian Hoyer, whether it's A-gap, B-gap pressure, or whether they try to overload on the outside, all of which are key to getting him on the ground. The X factor in this ball game for New Orleans will be the cornerback play. They can't allow Brian Hoyer and that young receiving core of Cleveland to have their breakout day throwing the football. Those guys have to step up outside of Keenan Lewis, who will be nursing a bit of an injury, but he finished the game last week. But these other guys, Stanley Jean-Baptiste, Patrick Robinson and company, those guys, Corey White, have to play better this time around. And for the Browns, the running game will be a big-time factor, X factor in this game versus New Orleans. What I like about Terrence West is he has already shown the ability to slip tackles, and this is a guy that could cause problems for any defense he faces. So it's imperative that they get him going, that you mix in a little bit of Isaiah Crowell, and the Browns have an excellent 1-2 punch in the backfield that can cause problems for the Saints defense. I like the Saints in this ball game. I think you'll see better third down defense versus Cleveland than you saw versus Atlanta. They'll be able to stop the running game, putting all of the onus on Brian Hoyer and that young receiving core. I think they'll be able to win those individual matchups. So I like New Orleans to go to Cleveland and come away victorious.
What's up, fantasy football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. For all of your starts, sits, fantasy football notes, news, and tidbits, tune into our podcast, Football Game Plan Starting Lineup, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, which is located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.
And don't forget to check out Football Game Plan's NFL Wraparound live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan, where we give you all of our late-minute and last-minute notes, news, and tidbits and thoughts on each and every game on the NFL schedule. And I also want to give a huge shout-out to Saint Fan Forums and Brown Fan Forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.